It was a rainy afternoon when Anna stepped into the small café, her favorite escape from the pressures of life. Anna, a young woman in her mid-20s, had long, dark brown hair that cascaded down her back, and her warm brown eyes often reflected her thoughtful nature. Today, however, those eyes seemed tired, carrying the weight of stress and fatigue from her busy job and overwhelming responsibilities. The warmth of the cafe and the familiar smell of coffee offered her a bit of comfort. She ordered her usual half a cup of black coffee and sat quietly in a corner, hoping to find solace in the small, cozy space. As she slowly sipped her coffee, she noticed an elderly woman sitting at a nearby table. The woman, with neatly tied gray hair and kind eyes behind her round glasses, exuded a calm and gentle presence. She wore a soft knitted cardigan and had an air of wisdom about her, her hands moving gracefully as she worked on a knitting project. There was something peaceful about her, and Anna found herself drawn to the older woman's quiet demeanor. The woman glanced at Anna's worried expression and smiled warmly. "Do you mind if I join you?" Anna nodded, welcoming the company. The woman introduced herself as Mrs. Harper and gently asked, "What's on your mind, dear?" At first, Anna hesitated, but something about Mrs. Harper's serene presence made her open up. "I feel like I'm always running on empty. No matter how hard I try, it seems like there's never enough time, never enough energy. My life always feels half empty, like this cup of coffee." Mrs. Harper looked at her thoughtfully and said, "You know, I used to feel the same way at your age. But I learned something important: life is like a cup of coffee. It doesn't matter if your cup is half full or half empty, what matters is how you choose to fill it." Anna frowned slightly, trying to grasp the meaning. "What do you mean?" As Anna pondered Mrs. Harper's words, a little girl, no more than 7 years old, entered the cafe, wearing a bright red coat and carrying a doll. Anna smiled faintly, wondering if life was simpler at that age. The little girl sat at the table next to them, chatting away to her doll as if it were her best friend. Mrs. Harper smiled again and said, "Look at that child. To her, the world is simple, and she enjoys the moment, filling her cup with imagination and innocent joy." Sometimes, we all need to look at life through the eyes of a child, appreciating what's right in front of us without overthinking the future. A sense of calm began to wash over Anna. She realized Mrs. Harper was right. Life wasn't always about whether it was full or empty, but rather what she chose to fill it with. Sometimes, the smallest and simplest moments were the most valuable. By the end of their conversation, Anna took the last sip of her coffee, feeling as though the half-empty cup she once saw had now been filled with newfound wisdom. She left the cafe with a renewed sense of purpose, determined to fill her life with meaningful and beautiful moments, no matter how small they seemed. We should never forget, life is like a cup of coffee, you can choose how to fill it.